Hi, this is Bobby G, and this is Bobby G's Big Stone ATX, and today's guest is Monica Fabbio of the Fab Property Group. I'm so excited to have her here with us. And Monica, why don't you tell us about some of the things you do in town, some of the ways you enrich the fabric of Austin?
The fabric, no pun intended. Oh my goodness! So I have been here quite a long time. I'm very ingrained in Austin. I've seen it from the sleepy little college town of 200,000 or less and to what it is today.
You went to school here too, didn't you?
I did. I'm a Longhorn
Okay.
through and through.
Where did you grow up initially?
So I grew up in San Antonio.
Okay.
I left there when I was 17 to come here, and I was in the fine arts school, and ended up.
And you graduated in 2 years too, right?
Well, actually, it was 3.
Okay.
But yes, I was 19 when I graduated from college.
Okay.
So that was it was different then. But I'd gone to private school before that, and so I placed out of a lot of the classes, all my English and math. And I don't know if you could do that today, but back then you could.
Okay.
And and I've been here almost ever since. I had detours in Dallas and Los Angeles, but I've been back for about, I don't know, I don't want to give my age, but let's just say give or take 25 to 30 years.
Okay. That's great. So you've seen a lot of changes in this city. I've been here for 20 odd years now, 22 years, I guess. Mm-hmm. And my gosh, it's really changed.
It has. It's bittersweet. I remember the days sitting at Boat Town tanning and jumping off the dock, learning how to wakeboard, or we used to slalom at 5 o'clock in the morning on Lake Austin, go eat at Texadelphia. It's very different now, but I'm very fortunate that the broad exposure that I've had allows me to do what I do now, which is introduce people to our lively, awesome city and help them with some of their biggest choices in life and hopefully become lifelong friends. And if I didn't have that deep history, it would probably be a little different.
I bet it would. I bet it would. Yeah, I remember moving here from Houston with a young family and looking around and thinking about, well, where do we want to live? What do we want to do? Because the Houston school system was, the area we were in was fine for elementary school, but after that we would have had to move to Memorial or do some kind of private schooling or whatnot. So when we moved here, we were like, well, what is the best, what's the best elementary school?
Mm-hmm,
and we thought Bridgepoint was going to be the best, and so settled over in that area. And
So I was the exact opposite. I went kindergarten through 8th grade at a private school in San Antonio, St. Mary's Hall. I'm so thankful. It was great preparation, very intimate. It was what I think I needed growing up. I think I would have been overwhelmed with the public school, but high school, I did want to experience that, and I was getting more into fine arts and just saw more opportunities. So.
Nice. Well, tell me about the people coming to Austin. Are there still a lot of people coming from Los Angeles, or are there people from other parts of the country?
Our biggest feeder markets are, California has been for a long time. You've got a lot from even Chicago, Florida, New York, and a lot of internal from Dallas, Houston, people shuffling around. But I would say, and Arizona, although they get a lot of influx as well. Mm-hmm. It's just they're kind of similar markets in a way. So it's been really interesting, all the people that I've met. I've met the most epic people in the world. I would not have the opportunity to meet if I weren't honored to do what I do. Every day is different, and I wouldn't change it. There are days that are very stressful, but what isn't that's worth anything.
And tell me about, not only are you involved in helping people settle here in town and making Austin home, but also you're involved in a lot of the different, Dancing with the Stars, for instance.
Yes, that was the most fun and epic thing for me of 2023
And that
or
was for the-
2024. Sorry,
That was for the Children's Protection, right?
the Center for Child Protection. So it was their 17th or 18th year and raised $2.8 million on the one night. For me, I have a history of dance, but it had been cut off from end of middle school, first part of high school, and so it was a new, an old part of my heart that was reopened from that, it reignited from that experience. I was very sad when it was over, and yeah, I would advise it for anyone.
That is so cool. Tell us about some of the other charities or different things that you're involved in town. Some of the things that make Austin special.
So I have done a lot of volunteer work. When I first started real estate, I thought, how can I, do good for the community and at the same time be meeting people and networking and with like-minded people. And so I just picked up the phone one day and called Any Baby Can. Thought I'd have a little happy hour or something.
What is Any Baby Can?
So Any Baby Can is for people at a disadvantage. It's a large spread of what they do. Everything from teenage, pregnant moms to families with abuse to kids, and it's all rich, poor, everything in between. Like kids who are disadvantaged because of health reasons. So it was a really widespread type of charity, and it went from being what I thought was a happy hour. It just kept growing, and it was for 5 years. I chaired a very large event. We had restaurants, dancing, silent live auction, and it was fun for me with the fine arts part of it. It was very time consuming and well worth it, but it raised a lot. I don't know if it was their biggest fundraiser, but it raised a lot of money, and I got to meet so many amazing people from it that I'm still friends with.
So cool.
So that would probably be the one I spent the most with, but I've been on some boards, and of course this, I was in the junior league at the time where you got to do so many things. my son and I did the Young Men's Service League throughout high school, and I'd get him up on a Saturday morning at 7. He's like, ugh. And he might have been complaining as we went into cleaning up somebody's yard, somebody who's disabled, somebody whose deck is falling apart, trimming trees to prevent fires, painting park benches at the Zilker Park. It was very diverse things that we did. Planting a garden at Safe Place, mobile loaves and fishes, and he did about 100 hours. It was such a bonding, great experience, and a very diverse way to contribute. So that was amazing. Gosh, there are so many things. I'm right now EVP of Philanthropy for Christie's International Real Estate here in Austin. So we are planning who we are going to help the coming years. It's such a hard choice because there are so many things that you can do, so many different topics. So we're going to pick several and plan some fun things, and hopefully culminate with a big event around this time next year based on our Love campaign, which is part of the Christie's world.
Oh, that's great. That is so cool. You brought up mobile loaves and fishes, and I had Alan Graham in here.
I love him.
Oh my God, he's such a special guy.
Yes.
He is just, my God, to hear the story from how it all started, what was the and how it all came around, and he said something that will stick with me forever, which I thought was really, really beautiful. He talked about the unvisibly damaged, spending time with the visibly damaged, and I thought that was just so beautiful because we're all, we all we're all broken.
Oh yes, definitely, and I think their needs are for all of us. You want to have shelter. You want to be able to offer a cup of coffee to someone. I loved the whole thing I did with my son, which was planting gardens, but then some of the homeless would come and cultivate and take half of the produce back. And I think they called it stone soup or something, but they would have picnic benches or just, they would get to serve others as the homeless, which is so satisfying. And yeah, he's got it going on.
Yeah, he's amazing. It's funny. I sat down with him, and that's such a great conversation. And of course, we when my kids were younger, we participated in mobile O's and fishes and driving the truck around and handing the food out. And George did his Eagle project over at the homes over on the east side and put some solar lights in and whatnot. And I was chatting with somebody at the local dog park, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it turns out this fellow was friends with Alan, and he was a photographer, and he's this amazing photographer, Michael O'Brien, and he did photographs for Life magazine."
Is it the black and white or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's. Are you familiar with the book? He did a couple books. He did one that was called "The Face of Texas," where Willie's on the front, and there's all kinds of amazing people in there. And his wife did all of the text in there, which was really, really cool. And then he did another one, which was the black and white. I think you may have been talking about that. Gosh, I forget the name of it. It's just over there. But it's faces of all of these homeless people. And he had a special relationship with this homeless guy in Miami in the 70s when he was a photographer down there. But he took pictures for Alan. And I said, did your wife do the text? Did she write in it also? He said, no, Tom Waits did that. And so Tom Waits, the musician, wrote about 25 poems in it. And he said I said, well, how did you meet him? And he told me the whole story about how he met Tom Waits, and they, their kids grew up together in New York City, and just these amazing stories. And he
I
had
don't
asked,
think anything's by accident,
no, it's just, when you pull on a thread, you just don't know where it's all going to go. And I asked Michael to sit down here, but I think he's more comfortable on the other side of the camera, so I'll have to keep working on him. But that is so cool. I love hearing that. It's just, Austin has so many places where you can fit in and help out in the community, and I think this is such a welcoming town. I've heard people say, well, it's not like X, Y, or Z. There was a drummer in here the other day, and he said when he was out in LA, people would be like, well, what gig do you have? What do you, they were like very competitive. And here in Austin, people are like, just cheering you on and working with you and really being a friend to you.
I agree. I lived in LA, and nothing wrong with it. One story I remember, which maybe tainted me, I was in the grocery store in Beverly Hills area, and I wanted to help this little old lady with her cart, my grandma, love of my life. My mom was adopted, but she was the cornerstone of the family. And
what did you call her?
Sweetest. Grandma.
Grandma, okay.
Oh, she was from West Texas, and she was a toot. A hoot and a toot. But some of her funny, she's got the funniest, the most wise wisdom. But I just thought all elderly women were just so sweet. And I tried to help this lady, and she was like the little wicked witch of the West, like with her little cart. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I was trying to help you. But anyway, I agree. Austin is very friendly, very easy to meet people. I feel like most people are collaborative. Of course, there's always going to be somebody who may not be, but that's probably because they're hurting.
Yeah. Well, tell me about, the name of the podcast is BobbyGs Big Stone, and Big Stone ATX. And the big stones are these people that come into our lives at the right time. And I had a teacher that I told you about earlier, and I had a dear friend of mine, my best friend, who ran around chasing girls as kids together, and lived together and worked together, and all, went on a spiritual journey together. And he was a big stone. But tell me about the big stones that have been dropped in your life.
There's so many, but if I go chronologically, I had a very nice childhood, but neither one of my parents were raised by their biological parents, and they were both very smart and talented and busy, and I think all of us have these insecurities along the way, or times when you need love or attention, or some sort of approval. So I remember going to private school, and it was a little playground, thank God, but it was kindergarten. I do remember looking out at this big world and feeling just so little. And so it was in elementary school early. I don't remember if it was second or fourth grade. I thought it was second. My friend says it was fourth, but let's just say it was third grade. So her name is Margot, and she we were bosom buddies. We did everything together, and I was really into gymnastics and dance and fine arts, and she was playing classical piano. My mom was an extremely talented classical pianist, and so she got me into this awesome piano school, an academy. They would fly people from London in once a year. You train all years. The Trinity College of Music. Myrna von Nimitz was the teacher, and so this is kind of a two stones at the same time. So Margot, we would spend the night with each other. I think one time we hit 18 nights in a row. I'm not sure, but we would be sick together, and my family was great, but her family was this tight-knit Spanish-Mexican family. They lived in this little house, and the love that poured out of this little house, I just remember Christmases and food, and you couldn't even walk in the kitchen, and it just was a great model for me. And so we did all the piano together, and I think that was one of the first times I thought, wow, I actually, I'd pass these exams. I would live with the piano teacher for 2 weeks at a time right next to the Trinity College bell. And I think it was one of the first times that I thought, wow, I'm actually kind of good at something. And then it went on. So Myrna von Nimitz, she was very strict, very strict.
That's the teacher.
Mm-hmm. And my family was very educated and all, but it's not like the discipline was just different. And she would, if I had any white on my nails, it's like you're cutting them because you can't play the piano if you have any white on your nails. But she was so structured. I think it was something I could hold on to that really was it just formed part of who I am. I work very hard. I am very studious. I think it was the classical piano and the ballet and all of that. So then Margot's family being so warm and loving and so accepting and very, not like overly strict, but very, just very loving. You felt good talking to them. Then we go on, and I'm still with Margot. We're still friends to this day. So went into public school, and that was kind of scary. I didn't even realize how big it was. I remember I had a birthday, and I'm throwing flyers out in the hall. I did not realize that 250 people were going to show up at my house.
Did your parents realize this?
Well, it was just my mom. My parents weren't together. She was trying to make it nice with chili con queso and, all this food. And it's just, anyway. The reason I tell this, though, is that I didn't realize that I could ever be popular or good at anything. Like, I just had this weird insecurity, which is actually what drives me today. So it's like your worst quality is your best quality, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm telling you all this because then I get into drama. Mr. Luis Munoz was pivotal in my life. My parents were separated. It was really, really many hard years I barely remember. And he just was tough love.
And
We were
he was a drama teacher.
still know him to this day. I wish I would spend more time with him. He's here in Austin, but we won first in state and then second in state, and this was really serious. And he was just like the same thing, just a tough love. But he was like the blend of Myrna von Nimitz and Margot's family. He would just, his eyes would get all, like, if we didn't do a good job or if we weren't paying attention, he would get these mean eyes and just sit us down. But it was so loving. And then, and even in dance, I have some stories with that. Some aren't that great, but I do think that the stories that happen made my life great later on, of understanding myself and deep pains that I had. That it required me to look at some things later in my life.
You can talk about those if you want.
Well, okay, so dance was probably my biggest love at the time. Piano I was very good at, but it was very scary to be on a big stage with a big piano. You cannot mess up at all. You cannot mess up. You can't do that with classical piano because you can't really improvise, right? Mm-hmm. So with dance, it was very expressive, and I was at a studio, but then I was asked to, I had a dance teacher, and he became my partner in pas de deux, which I was so honored. He'd been in a company, and long story short, he and his wife would babysit me and take me to church retreats and so on. Well, it turns out, this is the not positive part, but he was sexually abusing me this whole time. I'm in middle school, but it's okay because that's why I talk about it now. It's like my mom didn't even know that this was going on right under her nose. And I remember feeling loved, which is so weird about it because I'm like 11. I don't even know.
Wow, that's a big deal. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, well, and I would have not have shared this 20, 25 years ago, but I just know it wasn't my fault. And there's so many lessons from it, but mostly it forced me to look at myself in deep pain and to, face things. And it was just weird at the time because I thought it was like, I knew it was weird because I didn't really know what it was, but I just felt loved from it. And then they moved away, and I remember feeling rejected. And unfortunately, my dance went away. I did dance team in high school, but this was nothing like what I had been doing. Yeah. And so, but to bring it back to a positive thing, this Dancing with the Stars you just mentioned, I had not really danced, and certainly not with a partner. I mean, I think I said on the video some bad disco or something, or just dancing at a party. But it was such joy that came out, and ironically or not, by design maybe, it was for the Center for Child Protection for Abuse.
Wow, full circle.
Yeah, and the fact that I won it, which was just, I get chills because it was just so fun and so awesome. But we raised so much money. And now the partner that I had, if I have to get a back surgery, and a neck surgery, but he said he will do pro-am with me. So I kind of came full circle that, conquered one, and I have that piece of my heart back.
Oh, that's beautiful. My God, thank you for sharing that.
It was quite an experience for me. And hopefully I shared that with some people, or, because it is about, the whole Center for Child Protection. It's a lot. It's about exposure. I'm not thinking of the right word, but more people need to know about it, and that it happens everywhere, and can be right under your nose. And so the more awareness, the better, the less it will happen.
Amen. Yeah. Yeah, I think so many times. Whether it's mental health or it's what you're describing or just you name it. It's like we're all, we're all impacted with it somewhere in our families, right? Whether
Yeah.
people talk about it or not.
Oh,
And
I would think almost everybody knows of it, or yeah.
Yeah,
It may not be in the family,
I
but
think the fact that you can talk about it is just got to make other people feel better.
yeah, I don't, maybe I shouldn't talk about it, but to me, it's just, it happened. It wasn't my fault. And
No, you were an 11-year-old girl.
right.
You're a baby. You know, you're not much older than that kindergartner who was looking at the playground saying, "Look at how big this is, and I feel so small." Right?
Yeah, it's sad that it was a huge passion of mine. I mean, I guess it's not like I was going to go off and go to be in the New York Ballet, but everything is as it should be. That's what I believe in this life. We all have issues, we all have joys, and that's what makes life life. And I tell myself that to soothe myself, and it's because it's the truth, and it's what I'll tell my son. Or it's not going to be all good, and that would be so boring. You have to just take the meat out of each pain and move on and learn. So that was not a great ripple, but
it went full circle, and you told,
so
full circle in a good way. I mean, it just...
yeah. So in Luis Munoz, he's like the drama teacher from high school. If I were down and out and homeless right now, I could call him and he would say, "Come move in with us." This is the type person that he is. I had a little hard period, and I remember talking to him, and this is, I don't even know, a decade ago, or he moved to Austin because he was head of the UIL for all of UT, because he was that great. And anyway, he's still here. He was just on my Facebook. He made a comment, and I hadn't heard from him in a while, and it was so weird because
Does he live in Austin or still in San Antonio?
He's in Austin. Yeah, he moved here when he became head of
And
the
is he still a
UIL for
teacher?
theater. No, he retired.
Oh God, I think I'd love to hear his story.
Oh my gosh, he's
I
just
think
amazing.
I need to have you connect me.
But there's an energy thing, most definitely. I remember when he had his first child, and I'd had a dream the night before I went to high school that they had their child. I guess it's not that surprising because she was pregnant, but it was so real. And sure enough, he had his baby. And I was coming here trying to think of the ripples in my life, and he was the first one who came up. And sure enough, on Facebook, he messages me. So nothing's by accident. I'm so happy that I came across him, who was very bold, very strict, very loving, and very open.
Very cool. I love that. I would honestly like to meet him.
I need to see him.
Fun. Any others you can think of?
Oh gosh. I mean, I know of ripples that like a cause and effect, kind of like the Sliding Doors movie. In terms of just you mean a person that you're just involved with for a time, or?
I think the stones, they're big stones, but they're also, I think, smaller ones, and just people that just happen to be there at the right time to say something or do something. And
Okay, well, this was somebody I didn't.
and so when I was, I'm cutting you off, excuse me.
No.
So this all, the big stone I was telling you earlier, I had this 5th grade teacher who came into my life. And then 30 years later, a spiritual teacher who asked the question, and then I wrote a thank you note. So this is not only for you to tell the story, but I also think it's such a great forum to give a, thank you note 2.0. You don't have to wait by your mailbox like I did. You can just say thank you here. So anyway, so big or small stones, but, it's just to say thank you to somebody who came into your life.
Let's see. I'll fast forward. Well, I wouldn't even know how to find this person, but I was living in Dallas, and I was doing, I'm short, so it wasn't like any big modeling thing, but it was some product, something placement, and And a photographer I'd worked with before said, "Oh my gosh, you have to go and do this contest." And I said, "No, I am there. No, I never. I'm going to win it." And it sounded a little cheesy to me. And it's like, "Monica, you're going to win. Just go and do it." And I was like, "No, no, 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 no." Well, I went and I did it. And I won, and it was a swimsuit thing, which that's why I don't like to talk about it. I mean, I went from private school. I was a great student. I was classically trained, and so this was just not, me. But I went and did it, and did Texas, did the U.S. This was for Hawaiian Tropic back in the day. It was very cool. Now people say I'm Miss Tropicana, which I'm not, because that's an orange juice. But this is or a juice company. But it was in its day. It was, it had its heyday, and so I ended up winning the whole world.
The whole world, you won it?
I did.
So you were Miss Hawaiian Tropic for not just like Dallas, but
No, I did the U.S. and then I did the world. I was.
And you won the world.
Yeah, it was Paraguay, France. But the thing about it, it was so life altering. Now, most of the time it was amazing. We went to all the celebrity events, the tennis, celebrity tennis events, celebrity golf tournaments, Monte Carlo Grand Prix. I'm on the track with the car that says Hawaiian Tropic, meeting the winners, champagne, the yachts. Like, it was, I'm 21 years old and I have a modeling contract, or 22. And it was pretty amazing in the day. Super Bowls, going to Hawaii for photo shoots, living at St. Thomas for a month to do, Weekend at Bernie's, the movie. The experiences were crazy. Yes, but it's there were some talking parts, not very much. I think they got cut. And you can find me in a few places in there, but it was Weekend at Bernie's 2.
Okay.
Which was also so I was theatrically trained, right? We were first in state. It was so the opposite of what I thought I would be, but I have to say there were some of the best experiences of my life, because one photographer pretty much not forced me, but, was like, "No, you're going to go do this." Pushed me.
Right.
And it was just one of those things that I guess were meant to be, but it was so instrumental in a lot of contacts that I have, and the time
That's so
I
much
spent
confidence
in LA.
too. Right?
Well, and I think I always have that little girl trying to tear that down. But yes, I would say I remember the day I won. It was crazy. I mean, there's like modeling agency in New York, and I got to be on Star Search, and I got to be on Blossom, and all these things were happening. But it probably never would have happened if I hadn't have just gone to that one silly little stupid contest. I met artists, I met musicians, I met TV and movie stars, and I think I just realized everybody puts their pants on the same way. And I guess we should all know that, but I think if you don't think of it that way, you can be intimidated, and I think that's really helped me in my life today with real estate and all the different people you get to deal with, and every genre. I mean, you can never judge a book by its cover. I don't care if they're first-time home buyers or the biggest star in the world. Everybody's a human being, and this whole experience taught me that. So.
That is so cool. The power of yes.
Yes. The only thing I did not like was at the Cannes Film Festival when we would go there, and we had to put our swimsuits on one day and go through the fanciest restaurant. It was probably the most embarrassing moment of my entire life.
Oh my gosh! I'm so happy you told that story. That I had no idea. I've known you for a while, but I didn't know you were.
Well, I don't really
Miss
broadcast it
Tropicana.
because I like to be. I left LA and I got into high tech, and I felt like I just needed to.
And who did you go to work for high tech?
So I had a job offer at Dell, but somebody said, "No, you need to." Oh, this would be a great ripple effect. Okay, so I don't know if you know Mike Frost. He's been around Austin a while. He had won Entrepreneur of the Year. I started in high tech selling computer memory for Apple computers. Okay. And Mike is an amazing CEO. I I think they're still in Austin, but he really boosted me up as well. And I worked really, really hard. I would stay late. After 3 months, I got employee of the month. But was always my best fan and really helped me grow in the high tech world. And it was so opposite of the fine arts. But I needed to make money. I needed security. I needed that thing to hold on to. I had been coming back to Austin, and it had changed already, even back then.
So you were in LA now, and then you went into high tech in LA, or came back here to go
Came
into
here and yeah.
And Mike Frost took care. Okay.
Yeah, but I thought I wanted to open an internet cafe, and I just needed a job. And so I went to Whole Foods. It's so silly looking back, but I was like, I have to make money. I'm looking for my high tech job or a job. And I was at Whole Foods making smoothies. I thought I'm going to do an internet smoothie cafe. And I'm going to Larry Foles would come in every day, if you know him.
I don't know Larry.
So he is like Eddie V's.
Oh, he was
Jay Carver's, Z. Tejas.
What's his name? Foles' son, the quarterback.
Yes, Nick Foles.
Yeah, Nick Foles' dad. I met him at Starbucks around the corner a couple of years ago.
He is awesome. He would come in for a wheatgrass shot every day. And we would talk, and one day it was snowing or icing, which, here everything shuts down. And I was in South Austin, and I was up going to the Arboretum. And I'm the only person who shows up for work because I'm a worker. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to get to Whole Foods. I have to get to my shift. And he shows up. He goes, you are the hardest worker. I can't believe you're here. I guess he lived nearby. And he goes, you need to come to Z. Tejas and open up the bar, because I had bartended my way through and waited tables through college. But so I'm only there for 3 months because then I meet Mike Frost and all. But through the years, Larry, he's just a really cool guy. I didn't keep working in the restaurant, so I wouldn't say that's the ripple that I became like this professional restaurant or bar person, although there's nothing wrong with that. But he's just been a great fixture and a great cheerleader for me. Yell leader, whatever.
I love that. Oh my God, I had no idea the conversation was going to go this way and that. And
oh, there's more. There's just, I have
Come on.
I would have to think a little bit about it, but I've led a really, okay. I guess I can tell you another one. Oh, let me get a drink of water.
Or you can have a drink of the tequila if you want, whatever you'd like.
It is Friday, huh?
It is Friday.
Okay, I'll tell another one. I don't know how long we've been going, but both my parents not raised by their biological parents. My mom was adopted. My dad,
He was adopted as well?
he was not, but his dad unfortunately died early,
Okay.
and the mom was a very young mom, and so the grandparents raised my dad. And he had a great life. He went to Rice, he's 90, he just retired this year from architecture. So I get a call about 6 years ago. I'm running out the door for real estate. And it's a young lady on the phone, and she said, I don't mean to shock you, and it's a little awkward, but my mom just did 23andMe, and y'all are really closely related. And I thought, oh my gosh, it's my mom's family. Oh my God. And I said, it's not awkward. I'm so excited. I've been trying to find y'all, find my mom's family. She's like, no, it's not your mom. Y'all are half sisters, and it's your dad.
Okay.
But this happens, right?
Yeah.
I know men probably are way more scared of 23andMe and Ancestry than women, but she's part of the family now. She's now the oldest of 5.
Okay.
And she came over when we got to know each other because she was really good at Ancestry and all, it takes a lot.
So how old was your dad when can I ask this question? I don't want to dig in, but.
How old was he? I don't.
Yeah, so is she about your age?
No, she would be all of us except for my other half sister. I probably should just leave that part.
Okay.
on the ages, but we span.
So is she older than you or younger than you?
She's older. She's
This new sister that you didn't know.
yeah.
Okay.
She was about 9 years older.
Okay.
We get along great. She comes over to help me with the computers. We're on computers for 4, 5, 6 hours because she's helping me find anybody in my mom's family. Because she was good at it and had the time to do it. And so we sat there, we're digging, digging, digging. I had a few clues from years before, a phone call here, a little bit there. And I make a couple of calls. Somebody who was a cousin of mine makes a call to her mom she had just found because she was looking for her mom in Ireland. They had reunited, asked a couple questions. We're digging, digging. Next thing you know, find an obituary. And in the funeral, the pallbearers and so forth, one of the names was an ex-husband of somebody I've known 28 years. So, it's a very long story, but to make it shorter, a friend of mine of 28 years, I have her daughter in a pink onesie, my son in a pink onesie when we had pillows propping them up, both full head of black hair. Have it in a photo album, and she's my cousin. And it wasn't even in Austin that this all went down. And so even weirder, our grandmas were full blood sisters. So my mom's biological mom was her grandma's full blood sister. And I tell my son, I show him the picture in the photo album, and I say her name is, it doesn't matter if I say it, but it doesn't matter. And he goes, "She's my cousin? I was just at her house last night." I was like, "Oh, are you dating?" Like kissing cousins, right? They were third, but they were just friends. And so now this whole world exploded from this stone that was dropped. And I found out all kinds of things. I met my mom's 2 half-brothers, a half-sister. I have a lot of family I haven't met, but found out I'm 28% Ashkenazi Jew. I had to look it up. I didn't even know what it was.
Oh my gosh, I've got a cousin who's done all kinds of work looking into that. But going back to what you were talking about the half sisters and whatnot, I went back to Long Island this summer and had forgotten how beautiful it is out there. It's just like the South Fork of Long Island is where the farms meet the sea, and it's just so beautiful. But one afternoon, I got together with a buddy of mine who's a writer, and Tom has done all kinds of amazing. You've probably read a bunch of his stuff, Tom Janad, and he had just finished literally the day before this book that's coming out this year, and it was all about his dad and his dad's dalliances, and just this half sister that he found that he didn't know about, and all kinds of.
Did they get along? Yeah.
Oh yeah, he found out who she was, and she has a trailer, food trailer up in Connecticut, and he went up to the deal and introduced myself, and the two of them just looked very similar. And then the story that is behind this whole thing is, I don't want to go into it because the book is about ready to come out.
I'll have to read it.
And you will.
Yeah, I still want to find my mom's paternal side, and it's not, I barely have enough time to spend with all the ones I've been with, but maybe I would want to spend time. I don't know, but to learn your history, and apparently he's 100%, or was, I doubt he's still here, but 100% Ashkenazi. The other side is like Waco Baptist. So many stories, but yeah.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yes, well, I need to read this book, so let me know when it's out.
Oh, I most definitely will. I don't know what the name of it is, but he's told me a lot about it, and it's like, oh my God, it's really, really crazy.
I know a lot of people that they don't know all their families, or maybe they learn about someone and they just don't want a relationship. I can maybe understand that if it's just hard to all of a sudden be a family that wasn't. I think it works for some people and it doesn't for others, and that's okay. But I am just dying to know about the history of my mom's dad's side. I mean, maybe it's because I crave for family. So both my parents were only children, not raised by their biological parents. My grandma, love of my life, who adopted my mom. It was 3.5 months. She was in a nunnery. But still, I just craved this, like a family that was not there. And so the Margot Witt and her family comes along, and can barely walk in the little house eating Mexican food and just so joyous. So I really would like to find the dad's side. Maybe he can help me.
That you will. Oh, thank you. I don't think we need any more.
It was a lot.
We're out.